How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you my review of Thor: Love and Thunder. Actually, it's kind of fun that this movie wasn't called For Thor or Thorf. The Thorf. It's the fourth movie. He's the first of the MCU Avengers original to get his fourth movie. He'll probably be soon joined by Spider-Man, maybe. But before I go any further, please feel the love and the thunder and give me a like. Those likes actually help out with community engagement, and I like to be engaging. Don't forget to go ahead and write down there below and give me a comment. I want to know what you think, either of the movie, of what you're hearing me say. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm missing something out of this whole picture? Let me know, and do not forget the most important thing is to click that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're so close to 200 at the moment. And also, hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos just like this. Feel free to share as well. As you can see, I got my Thor shirt on. I have a Ragnarok shirt, but that one's kind of almost like a workout shirt-ish. So, yeah, I want to be appropriate. I love this. Love this shirt here. Um, man, so going into this movie, I had already seen some of the reviews. Pardon me. The reviews were lower than Multiverse of Madness, but here's the funny part: movie's already made $29 million, as it should. When watching any movie like this, or should I say, when watching any movie, period, you should have one thought: if you came out of it enjoying that movie, it's probably a good movie. Not saying that it's spectacular or amazing or groundbreaking. You know, every movie can't be Avengers 1. Every movie can't be Endgame. Every movie can't be, I guess, No Way Home. And those are, and I'm listing those movies. Every movie can't be the Batman, and there are some people that don't like the Batman either. But yeah, those are. This is this okay for a movie to just be okay or just be good. This is actually above average. So I'm gonna break down five things first and give them a grade. So CGI. Obviously, there are no actual giant screaming goats, which they literally screamed. Um, Literally, there are no actual gods of all shapes and sizes, and some of the things going on, obviously, right? CGI was really good. It gets a 5 out of 5. The setting gets a 4 out of 5. Now, while Gorr was going out doing his Gorr thing, I a lot of stuff was alluded to, and some stuff was, found out through the pipeline of us, being smart watchers, such as him knowing to go to eternity. Spoilers, by the way, if you don't know this. Him going to eternity to try to make a wish, and to wish to kill all gods and just end them that way. That's I kind of wish we would have gone to more of those, seen some more of those worlds. Granted, we did go to the one where Sif was on with apparently the kindest gods of all. We were in New Asgard a lot. We were in the shadow, literally the shadow realm. Shout out to Kazuku Takahashi. We were in Omnipotity, which is this massive city that only gods know how to get to, that houses gods of almost every pantheon, and even pantheons that you don't even know, even made up ones, such as Korg, the god that Korg prays to. Tons of them. Um, that was done very well. But I'm giving it 4 just because I kind of want to go some other places, but it's okay. It's still good, right? Accuracy to the comics. They're taking two stories here. We're taking Gorr the God Butcher story, and we are taking the Mighty Thor stories, and we're smushing them together, and they did a good job of smushing. They smushed very well. I don't care if you want to say ripped from the page, scanned from the page, copied from the page. They did a really good job of translating this. Now, funny enough, um, Taika Waititi did not want to have Gorr look like his comic book accurate self because he would look like Voldemort. And he's like, we're just gonna go, to avoid comparisons and stuff like that. We'll have Christian Bale look like Christian Bale. Which, if you didn't know, that's who's playing Gorr. Why are you here if you haven't seen the movie? Do you like spoilers? You probably do like spoilers. But the thing I just thought about, because I do like, when there's nothing on TV and I'm just kind of thinking of things that I need to write down and do, I peruse the television channels, the FXs, the TNTs, and Ebony Maw looks a lot like a very ugly, uglier Voldemort. Kind of look like Squidward and Voldemort had a love child, right? But I'm okay with it. There was really nothing offensive about that at all. So accuracy is 5 out of 5. Originality with how they took, and I say this every time, every single time. It's not just about taking that story and just stamping it and put it on the silver screen. Didn't work out for Daredevil very well. But there are two origin stories that it did work out well. Actually, it didn't work out for the first Thor movie either. But you know what it did work out for? Iron Man, where you take that core concept. All right, we're going to make it for modern times, and we're going to change some things, and it works. Same thing with Captain America. And this is the same thing I can honestly say with Thor Love and Thunder. Very, very well done with how they changed a lot of things and how they added some things that we will get to in a moment. Music is a 10 out of 5 because we had Guns N' Roses. We had tons of rock ballads, love ballads. I mean, even Heimdall's kid changes his name to Axel because he loves Axl Rose. And Axl Rose. And was it the Guardians of the Galaxy were in the very beginning of this, so of course we got some rock and stuff. Which a thing that I want to note because I'm probably going to forget as I continue talking. It really seemed like Quill enjoyed having Thor around. Like, well, by having him around to fight, because Thor has this catchphrase, and it's kind of funny that like even though Thor had this rocking '80s like um space rocker Viking. It didn't seem like Quill hated that. It just seemed like the Guardians were kind of tired of like the chaos that came with Thor because he brought them to a planet where they were supposed to just be able to, chill. But then a war broke out because of Gorr killing gods, and gods are the protectors of their own realms, and I'll get to that in 2 seconds. And he got these screaming goats that literally screamed like a man. I'm pretty sure that was Taika Waititi's voice for the scream. It was funny the first 2 times. It gets kind of old. Still funny, but it gets old. You only really don't mind it when you're like already in the comedic parts. So, but yeah, really good music. 10 out of 5. So let's do the setup. And the setup was done very well. Just like in the comics, Gorr has lost everything. He's the last disciple of. Didn't catch the god's name. I'm in a movie theater. I can't press rewind. And I'm not going to watch the movie right after I just watched it already. But that's okay. When it comes out again, someone, if you know the name, just correct me down there. He holds his daughter as she dies, which I gotta give. Someone in Disney said, you know what? Sure, we're gonna write off on this. We got a kid dying. We have a couple of fake out deaths. We have gold blood. I guess once they gave Taika Waititi the okay to use that gold blood, there was a fight scene in Omnipus City where they just gold blood everywhere. But yeah, Gorr's daughter dies, and he hears the call of the Necro Sword. The Necro Sword is this ancient weapon that is designed to be able to kill a god. And he sees his god, and his god is just, pardon my French, an asshole. And you get this feeling, and there is such a great duality between Gorr and Thor. Gorr and Thor, wow. Pretty sure they did that on purpose. Such a duality between them because Gorr's God that he just rejects because his God is just making fun of the fact. He's like, you guys, there's nothing for you after you all die. Your lives should be spent worshiping us, right? And this seems like a dude that took a page out of Zeus. And I'm gonna get to that. Oh, I'm gonna get to Zeus in a minute. But he accidentally gets cut by the Necro Sword, and now he is cursed by it, and he's doing its bidding because the gods have not done anything good for anyone. And there's actually several scenes in this movie that are taken from pages of the comics, such as the giant when Thor goes to save Sif, the giant god in that icy landscape that is toppled. We get the mighty Thor, her pose as well. There's tons of panel, panel to picture stuff that's really done really well. Especially when Thor gets when he does his new shiny gold costume, which Thor is on that Piccolo level, guys, and it was confirmed actually in the very first Avengers movie. He creates his costumes, even if his cape burnt, because Korg even says, "Hey, your cape's on fire. Don't worry, it'll grow back because he can just do that. He has these abilities." This movie actually leaves me with the question: Is everyone's saying Wanda's the strongest Avenger, but is she? Yeah, we know she can beat Doctor Strange, but it seems like it's between her, Thor, Doctor Strange coming up right there. There's Captain Marvel, and of course, there's the big green guy, Hulk. It's pretty crazy just to see how strong Thor is and see how strong Gorr is. So, I should do my favorite parts last, even though I have it on here. But you know what? Let's go to the things they cut. It was confirmed before the movie came out for the rest of us via the previews. There are three people cut from this movie. There was a woman from Game of Thrones. I forgot her name. I'm halfway sorry about it, but her, Peter Dinklage, who played the giant space dwarf that helped make that made not just Mjolnir but the Infinity Gauntlet and Stormbreaker. Him as well as Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster. Yes, Grandmaster were cut. I'm pretty sure that at least Dinkle Dwarf and Goldblum Grandmaster, I'm pretty sure they were probably cut from the whole Omnipocity. I'm pretty sure they probably showed up in there. And I have no idea where the other lady would have shown up. I'm hoping that we will get to see her in some deleted scenes when the Blu-ray and DVDs come out. So that's my thought on that one. Easter eggs. The Celestials count as gods. Because you see, I saw Ansem the Judge, and I saw at least two other Celestials there in that Omnipocity on the outside. Wow. And just wow. There, let me tell you already, your mid-credit scene, Hercules show up, and he looks just like Hercules from the 1980s. I don't think Hercules showed up in the 60s, but from the 1980s, he looks just like OG Hercules, green and gold all over. Him and his dad are assholes. Um, where am I at here? No, I think. Oh, we get shout outs for Quetzalcoatl and Ra. Now, you all probably don't care about the Aztec deity Quetzalcoatl. If you are a fan of Fate Stay Night, you probably are. Or the Fate series, you probably are a fan of Quetzalcoatl. But let's talk about Ra. One of the great things about this movie is that Taika Waititi and his writing team worked with the writing team and showrunner of Moon Knight because both shows are about gods. And they did not want to cause any unnecessary overlap that would have messed up either property, and they also wanted things to make sense. And this movie further doubles down what was said in Moon Knight. In Moon Knight, all the Egyptian pantheon gods, the Ennead, they said, we're not going to interfere with him. We're going to take a step back. Zeus says to Thor, Asgard, Asgardians are your people, because Thor needs to save children because Gorr kidnapped children. And Asgardians are your people. Asgardian gods take care of the people who worship them. Those are your problems. And it makes tons of sense now. It's like, why would the Greek pantheon or the Roman pantheon? Why would the Japanese gods, and we do see a giant Japanese god in there, why would any of these gods come down and fight, Thanos or anything else if they really don't have to? And gods can die, just probably not by another god's hand, because when the fake out death number one, when Thor thought that Korg got killed, took Zeus's thunderbolt and shucked it right into his diaphragm right here. Thought he died. He did not die. And the whole Zeus part was played. That's one of the comedic parts right there. Which, matter of fact, let me go and talk about the comedic parts. When Thor meets the other Thor, who he then finds out is his ex girlfriend Jane. I'll get back to the Jane part in a minute. He does the whole you're stealing my you're stealing my whole get up too, and he does the lightning thing, gives himself the gold and blue, a helmet, and then makes the wings bigger. Funny joke. There's also a running gag that when he sees Mjolnir, he's saying he wants to know if he's still worthy. Stormbreaker is like the new girlfriend, and like at one point when he tries to call Mjolnir over, Stormbreaker's just come around the side. He's like, "Oh, hey, buddy." It's played up for laughs very well. There is some confusion that some people think he couldn't use the Rainbow Bridge with Stormbreaker because Stormbreaker was mad at him. No, I just think Stormbreaker's power is a bit unruly, and given that Thor is going through a lot of emotions, probably couldn't control it himself. But maybe it's a little bit of both. In the comics, Mjolnir actually does have the God of Hammers within it, captured by Odin. So I would not be surprised if these two immensely powerful things are sentient in some way. They certainly aren't here, and we saw how well the cloak in Doctor Strange being sentient works for that. Everyone loves Clokey, so why wouldn't you guys like the hammers? There was an orgy joke, which of course Valkyrie was down for it. Even when Thor was made naked in front of everybody, his whole crew was like, "I'm cool with it," which is confirmed that Korg species they're gay. They're uh, I don't know the proper term for it, but two guy Korg species come together. They hold hands over a lava pit, and then a baby Korg is born. And Korg finds a boyfriend, a lover named Blaine towards the end of the movie. He actually does a lot of the narrating. He narrates the beginning, he narrates a little bit the middle with Thor and Jane's relationship, and he narrates the end. Um, Valkyrie, of course, we already knew Valkyrie was gay. Her girlfriend, her love was actually Brunhilde, and I'm pretty sure Valkyrie's name is Runa because in the comics they brought Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie in twice. One in exile, so she's an alternate universe person, and the other in the official universe working with Jane Foster's Valkyrie, which I will get to in a moment. Um, they're taking some interesting steps, which is really good, and I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Sif, it's nice to see Jamie Alexander that she isn't forgotten. The Warriors 3 are dead, and even Korg makes a joke about it when they die to hell. He's like, "Yeah, that guy and this other guy, I don't know who this guy is." And it's probably how most people feel that's not a hardcore comic book reader. I know who the Warriors 3 are. They were heavily disrespected in Ragnarok. While Ragnarok was a really great movie, still they were heavily disrespected. But yes, Sif's arm, because she says, "Oh, don't rescue me, Thor. I want to die and go to Valhalla." And he's like, "Well, you have to actually die in the battle. Since the battle is over, your arm probably made it to Valhalla because she is arm. She has one arm now." And all the Guardian stuff was pretty funny. Like, so my favorite scenes in this movie are actually the fight scenes. The fight scenes are done so well when they're fighting the Shadow Beast that Gorr make, when they're fighting against Zeus's cronies and Omnipotity, when they fight Gorr again on this tiny moon. It looks like King Kai's planet. They fight again on this tiny moon against Gorr's forces, and when they fight Gorr again, there's enough action in here that I feel that it does really well to offset the comedy. And there's actually some really sad moments, and I'll talk about those sad moments again in a minute. But Thor takes out a whole weird army when so Korg says Thor's just waiting for someone to say, "Thor, come and help us win this battle." and he does this speech, and I love where Thor is in this movie. Like this movie literally is not just completing an arc of his, but expanding upon who he already is. Because Thor, when talking to the Asgardians after the children are taken, and King Valkyrie's trying to do her thing, when he speaks, he commands the room. Everyone shuts up and they split apart and they just allow him to speak. When he's about to do this, kind of comedic over the top battle, that's where Quill even knows his catchphrase. And Thor takes off the cloak and he has on a rocker's outfit. He's kicking butt. He even does the Van Damme split. He does the Jean Claude Van Damme split, which is very funny. But he did a really, really, really good job of kicking everyone's butt on that battlefield single handedly. I don't know if people realize, and I don't know why they leave Thor out of the conversation for Strongest Avenger, but you got to remember when he shows up in Infinity War, that battle tide turned heavily. He was taking out scores of people left and right. One of my favorite scenes. So let's talk about this sad part. Gorr, just watching the anguish on him, and even though we don't get to hear a God telling him about eternity and being able to, eternity is a sentient character in the comics. Eternity was actually killed a couple times. Well, killed by the Beyonders, and all versions of it in the multiverse and the omniverse were killed. Well, multiverse were killed, but it's back now. When Reed Richards made the 616 the center of the multiverse. Pardon me, but eternity is a concept. They took that right out of the comics. It looks so beautiful. The whole figure with the galaxy inside of it, so well done. Um, which means, man, if Deadpool 3, if Death shows up, mwah, just mwah. And you know what? I hope Thane, son of Thanos, shows up. I just mwah. Ooh, ooh, they're finally on the right track. And I've been waiting for the MCU to get to where, oh, we're not going to try to explain magic. Magic is magic. Gods are gods. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, it's fine. There's tons of nerds out there that do love it. Amazing. And just I'll come back to that. Jane Foster dying from stage 4 cancer, and we do get to see Eric Salvik and Darcy, Doctor Darcy. Eric, she was trying to find a science way to get rid of her stage 4 cancer, and Darcy's telling her, "Why don't you call that hot, space Viking guy?" And she's like, "He is very handsome, but still, just it's sad. It's sad that every time she lets go of the hammer, just like in the comics, the power of Mjolnir is killing her because it cleanses everything out. The chemo cannot take hold." And I like that Thor isn't stupid when she finally tells him and they finally share a kiss. And they tell each other they love each other. He does it first, then she does it. Love it. Good job with having the guy say it first. I love that. Um, he acknowledges that that's a really rough thing to go through. Cancer is a thing known throughout the universe. I like that it wasn't played for laughs. Like, what is this cancer you speak of? No, good job on that. Um, the fact that Thor, and I believe, a lot of people have issues with you beat the villain by talking to the villain. Once we had the amazing fight of if Jane used the hammer one more time, she was gonna die, and of course she used it to save Thor because the Necrosword was about to stab him right in the chest. After they destroy the Necrosword and she's dying, Gorr already reached eternity, and Thor turns his back on him. He's like, "Why? Don't turn your back on me." And Thor tells him, "Hey, man, you even said that you're just like me, and we are the same. But what you want isn't to kill all the gods. You don't want revenge. What you want is the same thing I want. You just want love. So I'm gonna tell you what. You're gonna make your wish to get rid of everybody anyway, right? I'm gonna spend my last moments with the person I love because this is her last moments. You do whatever you want." And I love that. Because Gorr is not cursed with the sword anymore, and Thor goes, you could even ask for your daughter back. And That is what Gorr wishes for. He's dying because the sword was killing him, much like the hammer was killing Jane. More duality. He has duality with the Thors, and I love the effect when we're at eternity, just endless water, and it's done so well. And within the water, you see eternity, but then you see his daughter, played by Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter. His twin sons played his young self when he's running in the opening of the show. Everyone's kids are in here. Like everyone's kids are in here, and I will touch on that in a moment. But now Thor is good. Jane dissipates into golden sparkles. Thor is now Daddy Thor because Gorr said, "Take care of my kid." And it seems like anybody can wield Stormbreaker. I guess Stormbreaker doesn't have the same enchantment that I want to say Mjolnir has, because even Jane takes it and tosses it when she realizes Gorr needs it to get to eternity. Um, who else? Gorr drags it. He doesn't pick it up. He drags it. So that's a thing. And Gorr is, I give him credit. Gorr is one of the scarier villains because you feel his conviction. The gods, he even when Zeus was saying to Thor, "No, we're not going to help you because I'm," and he levels with Thor. He's like, "Yeah, I am afraid, but guess what? The only way he can get here is if you tell him because only gods know how you get here. So you can't leave here, right?" He strikes such fear because he is strong. And he's kind of right. A lot of the gods are just assholes. Zeus is like, "Oh yeah, those were low level gods he killed." Wow. But the outcome that Thor decides on being, well, you know what? Forget you all. What a god is supposed to do is inspire their people and help their people. So I'm gonna go help these kids. And we do get astral projections of Thor via Heimdall's son Axel, which Axel might be kind of an illusion for transgender a bit because Axel's first name was Astrid, and Thor's like, "Your father gave you a strong, Viking name." He's like, "No, I'm Axel, just like Axel Rose." And eventually Thor realizes, he's like, "You know what? Fine, you're Axel." Kind of had a little touch of that in it. I saw it. I don't know if others saw it, but I saw that. But every time he showed up, he was inspiring the children. He was telling them, "You'll make it through," because guess what? All of you are strong. And even when they're not all Asgardians, there's a gold kid, there's a girl with a beak thing that looks like a lion. There's they're all over the place, but he inspires them to the point where, all right, I don't have an army. He has them grab weapons and temporarily gives them the abilities of Thor. This is probably the part that checked out a lot of people. Some people probably didn't enjoy seeing kids, especially one girl who had a bunny rabbit that shot laser beams once they got the power of Thor. Probably a lot of people checked out on that. And that's okay. But I appreciate this because this movie isn't just for us nerds, it is for kids. Just like the prequel series of Star Wars were for the kids of that era, this is for kids too. And this is probably going to inspire someone to be like, "I saw those kids being strong, so I could be strong too." And this movie has been hammering in Thor realizing that he'd rather have love and be sad because of love than to just close off his heart. And with him opening his heart, Jane told him, "Keep your heart open." He opened his heart to have his own little pseudo daughter. He's making pancakes and everything for her before they go off and have their fight against the bad guys. I enjoy this stuff. Where am I? I saw about eternity. Can't wait till we see Infinity somewhere. Because I wonder how Infinity feels about the Infinity Stone thing. Let's talk about the after credit scene where Jane is in Valhalla and she meets Heimdall, Idris Elba, and he welcomes her in there. He thanks her for saving his son. And this also happens in the comics because Jane does die in the comics and she becomes the new Valkyrie. And she has so many cool powers. She has a death vision where she can see when a person's going to die, but it also allows her to see if things have a soul. She rescued people when a bomb was going to go off, and that's how she uses it. She can make energy weapons. She has a talking horse named Mr. Horse. If they don't they don't bring her back for Thor 5 or Thrive. Ooh, Thrive. They'll bring her back for a Thrive. I hope her and Idris get their own like Disney Plus series. I would watch that. I watch all of them anyway, but I would probably greatly enjoy that because I like Jane Foster as Valkyrie in the comics. It's very, very well done. Um, which also begs the question: since Loki died in battle against Thanos, technically, is the original Loki in Valhalla? Is Odin in Valhalla? He didn't die in battle, but he still, he runs Valhalla. So I want that series. We can move away from Loki and put original Loki in there and put the Warrior 3 in there and maybe Jane Foster and Heimdall, they have to go off and handle these extra god missions. There is a god squad. Um, Hera has her own version of heaven too, and at the same time, Hera did get Agent Loki to go and do some things. So maybe I don't know. I'm very optimistic because I had such a good time with this, and I know I had such a good time because I actually got all of my points that I wrote down here, and I actually said all of them. There is one scene that kind of made me flinch a bit. It was when Gorr said Lady Thor something something lose or whatever, and she says not Lady Thor, it's one Mighty Thor or Dr. Jane Foster. And that was the thing that a lot of people were butting heads when this movie was first into production and stuff like that. Is when you say Lady Thor, it's like lords and ladies, right? I don't think anybody means to say Lady Thor as being a derogatory thing. I certainly didn't. But yes, yes, and proper, she is technically the Mighty Thor. That's just her title. So she didn't do a good job. She still had a really bad catchphrase. We didn't hear what her last catchphrase was when she whispered it to Thor right before she died and right after she told him that she loved him as well. So all in all, a very good experience. Uh, I had a good time because I laughed at a lot of stuff that I don't even think some of the people around me were laughing at. I have to give this movie a 4 out of 5. It's not groundbreaking, but it's certainly above average. And it's certainly a good time. And it rewards you for, if you don't read comics, it rewards you for watching all of Thor's other movies. It rewards you for following all the movies. If you read comics, it rewards you by saying, hey, we know what you like, and here it is. 4 out of 5 for sure. The only I think the only thing I might have changed is just fill in some gaps there. How did Gorr find out about eternity? Yeah, eternity. How did the plans and everything get written up? Other than that, really good movie. 4 out of 5 for me. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I thank you so much for taking some time out to spend some time with me. I know I've taken 30 minutes of your time, but you know what? I had to get all this out. I don't know if there's the one thing that I know might have been cut for sure, and it kept saying that King Valkyrie is on her own journey to find love. We're in the boat where her and Korg are letting Thor and Jane have their kissing moment. She does mention that she's Korg hits on the head. She's trying to find the bottom of the bottle because she watched her lover die in battle. I think sooner or later Valkyrie will find her queen. If it's not Jamie Alexander, because that's who I was calling for. Now, both Tessa and Brie Larson both want those two to be an item. So who knows? We might actually get that. I thought Disney Marvel would actually deny the fans, but they might not. That might actually be a thing. Although I in the comics I liked Rhodey and Carol together. They actually worked very, very well. But who knows? Maybe Rhodey will get Jamie Alexander with one arm. And the kids, and the thing is, that scene with the kids fighting was not useless because the kids are now in training. The Asgardian ones, at least, are being trained by King Valkyrie herself, and Heimdall's son Axel is being trained by Jamie Alexander's Sif. And technically, in the comics, Sif was Heimdall's sister, So I don't know if that connection's still there. I don't know where Enchantress is. Where's Enchantress? Who knows? But as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified of more videos like this, and share the video. As always, guys, be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear that mask, be good to yourself, be good to others, either way it goes. Don't be a joke. Or as Thor would say, don't be a bushling bilge snipe. Shout out to anyone that understands that reference. Until next time, just like at the end of the movie said, Thor will return, I certainly will return as well. See you next time.